Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. No, I can't sing. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars on Andrew's channel. Oh man. Dave Filoni, you beautiful man, you. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel for another Mandalorian review. It's Season 2, Episode 5, Chapter 13, The Jedi. This is kind of a moment that this season and this show has been leading up to. A big reveal. So definitely some stuff we have to get into and talk about. Just like my last video, there will be spoilers, so you have been warned. Here we go. This episode was written and directed by Dave Filoni, and it makes a lot of sense because this is the episode of Ahsoka Tano. I love this episode. I really did. I think it's the best episode of the season, and I think it's the best episode of the show. And it's interesting, too, because Dave Filoni actually directed Episode 1 and Episode 5 of Season 1 of The Mandalorian, and in my opinion, Episode 5, which was titled The Gunslinger, was not very good. Honestly, one of, if not my least favorite episode. And last season was his first time directing live action, so he's obviously going to get better, and he's going to mature and learn his techniques, and he has a guy like Jon Favreau right behind him to kind of guide him in that process. And I think this season his directorial style got even better. The episode starts off with a bang. If you were wondering, where's Ahsoka, what is Ahsoka doing, you saw it right away. You saw her dual wield lightsabers light up, and you're like, whoa. And like this show has done time and time again, it starts off with an action set piece, and a really good one at that. Rosario Dawson is Ahsoka Tano. The rumors have been swirling around. It was almost like 99.99% positive that it was going to be Rosario Dawson, but some people held out hope for Ashley Eckstein, who voiced Ahsoka, just like Katie Sackhoff did as Bo-Katan, and she played her in Episode 3. While I love the opening scene, I love the action, I love kind of the mist and Ahsoka darting through the mist and using the elements around her. She's not the same snip she was in early Clone Wars. She is mature. The reveal of Ahsoka could have been done a little bit better. It wasn't as impactful. It kind of just hit you like, bang, here's Ahsoka. I just would have kind of liked more of a heroic moment to be like, hey, here's Ahsoka, but no, it's like, hey, here's Ahsoka, here's the episode, get into it and get ready, let's go. The Mandalorian talks to the magistrate, and the magistrate's basically like, yeah, I have this Jedi problem. Do you think you can help me out? He has a duty to do and get the child reunited with Ahsoka. So obviously he's going to play it coy and be like, I'm not going to say yes, but do you happen to know where this Jedi is? And Michael Biehn basically like leads him there in the direction, points him in the right direction, is like, he looks down at Baby Yoda and he's like, well, what is that thing? And Mando's like, I keep it around for good luck. And Michael Biehn's like, well, where you're going to need it. Pointing out something that a lot of people have already saw on the internet when Mando is walking in the direction of trying to find Ahsoka. Morai is actually on top of one of the trees, and if you look closely you can see it, but if you're not paying attention you're going to miss it. Morai's kind of like Ahsoka's guide and is always kind of there and represents the light side of the Force. That's the best way I guess I can describe it off the top of my head, basically without much research. It's all from the old noggin. It's tough to adapt a character from animation to live action, and I thought in Episode 3 with Katie Sackhoff and Bryce Dallas Howard's episode, they did that really well. But when you have a character like Ahsoka and there's a lot of moving parts to her costume and her makeup, I thought they did everything really well. And she moves like Ahsoka would move, and that's credit to the stunt team as well in the action. The way that she holds the sabers at some points, where she holds it, and how she fights. It's exactly like Ahsoka would fight. And credit to Rosario Dawson, credit to Dave Filoni as always, because Dave Filoni knows the character Ahsoka so well, maybe a little too well. Ahsoka sees that Mando has brought the child to her, and they have a little conversation through the Force, which I thought was really cool. That shot, if we're talking about Dave Filoni as in directorial style, him kind of setting up Ahsoka on the left, the child on the right, and then the moon in the middle was really pretty, and I really like that. Again, adding to the list of shots that I love in this show. Can we call him the child or Baby Yoda or the Foundling? Yes, you can still call him that for sure. But according to Ahsoka, his name is Grogu. So, there you go. Grogu in the house. Woo. What she kind of reveals about Grogu is that he was trained by multiple masters on Coruscant. And then Order 66 happened, and someone took him out of Coruscant and took him out of the Jedi Temple. but she doesn't know who, and that's a mysterious thing that a lot of people are speculating. So then I thought this was a nice parallel. She has a scene where Grogu, I'm still getting used to that, she sends a rock his way, and then he has to send it back. It's harkening back to multiple things in the episodic films. For starters, in the original trilogy in Empire, when Luke and Yoda were training, Yoda had Luke lift rocks and lift other objects. And then in the sequel trilogy, Rey and Luke kind of talk about the Force and Rey's depiction of the Force and kind of the joke about lifting rocks. Eventually, Grogu's able to do it because Mando steps in and kind of coaxes him to do it with the little ball that he was kind of into the whole episode. Ahsoka dueling the magistrate. It was kind of like that samurai type feel, and the action flowed really, really well. And then she says, "Where's your master? Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?" And I was like, oh my god. Oh my god! And that was a bombshell that I don't think many people saw coming. I saw some things, maybe people kind of speculating, but not many people were thinking about that. And when she drops that, I was like, oh. Because initially when she said that, your first inclination is, oh, Moff Gideon. Yeah, of course. But no, Grand Admiral Thrawn. And that's a tie into Rebels, Dave Filoni. It all comes together with Dave Filoni. Could Ezra and Sabine be okay? That's something up for speculation. With Dave Filoni at the helm, it's possible that he could bring them back. Mando has a nice little duel with Michael Biehn, a little Western-type shootout. He takes him out in one move. Michael Bihn's dead. Goodbye, Michael Biehn. And yeah, Ahsoka defeats the magistrate, gets her information, and liberates the people on Corvus, and everything's happy. Until Ahsoka tells Mando, hey, I can't really train the child, Grogu, but go to Tython and let him seek out Jedi. It's up to him, she basically says, and he'll reach out into the Force, and it's possible a Jedi could come get him. And she says, there's not many of us left, basically. With kind of following the formula, I guess, of this show, Mando, goes one place, gets sent to another place, kind of just going round and round in circles. So I hope that something comes to a head here very soon, but we'll see. This episode had a lot of big expectations. I think it was able to hit on the majority of them. I've enlisted the help of Connor Griffin, who's been on the channel a couple times. Connor, what you got?
Hello everybody, Connor Griffin here, your friendly neighborhood Mandalorian cynic. I was not a huge fan of this episode today. I'll be the first one to say. I wasn't on this high, like, oh my gosh, Ahsoka in live action, it's incredible, blah, 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 I can't believe it. No, it felt very flat for me. I'll put it that way. I thought maybe this was the fourth best episode of this season. I'll start off with the positives, though. I will say the Baby Yoda stuff was cool. Grogu, I'm glad his name's not Kevin. Liked hearing that he was on Coruscant during the Clone Wars, learning from the Jedi, blah, 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 blah. The Beskar on lightsaber action was dope. And I have a feeling that's going to come back around later on in this season between Moff Gideon and the Mandalorian. Moff Gideon will have the Darksaber, maybe. And then on top of that, the last thing, I would say the Grand Admiral Thrawn reference. Thrawn was my favorite character in Rebels. But there again, it's a positive. But I fear that this show is just going to become Rebels 2.0. And like I said, I love Rebels. Love Thrawn, love Rebels. It made sense to bring back Bo-Katan. It made sense seemingly to bring back Ahsoka. I would now say it really didn't make all that sense. And now Ahsoka is bringing in Thrawn. It's like, well, how does Thrawn fit into it? They're talking about bringing back Sabine. Ezra is tied with Thrawn. So I'm assuming Ezra would come back as well. So it's not sitting right with me. There's so much cool story. And I fear that they're going to throw that to the side and prioritize Rebels. Ahsoka today, and the reason why I say she didn't make a whole lot of sense, she essentially was a video game cutscene character. Really, at the end of it, she gave Mandalorian, the Beskar spear. Anybody could have done that. And then she gave him, the whole, oh, you have to go to this planet at this temple on this mountain. Because she didn't want to help them. She did nothing for them aside from giving them that little information. She didn't want to train Baby Yoda. Even though she essentially had an unspoken deal with the Mandalorian, like, hey, help me get this information about Thrawn, and then, I'll train the kid. And she completely backstabs the Mandalorian and says, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I know I said it, or maybe they didn't say it, but we agreed to it unspokenly, and I'm still going to chuck that to the side. It was ridiculous. I was like, that's not Ahsoka. And plus the fact that she won't train Baby Yoda, she wasn't going to train him either way. She wasn't going to train him because she couldn't get Baby Yoda to use the Force to pull that ball away from her, whatever it was. And then she ended up not training him because she was like, oh, Mando, you need to connect with him. That's how you're going to get him to use the Force. Well, Mando does connect with him. And she's like, whoa, too much of a connection. You guys are too attached. I can't do it. I was like, what? Like, so you weren't going to train him either way. It was such a dumb reason. Really dumb. I did not like her character in this episode. Did not like her. And I did not like the planet. I didn't like the other characters, the natives of that planet. It was just odd. It was not that great of an episode. I'll be the first one to say it. That's the review.
His opinion is vastly different than mine, which is not uncommon because our opinions differ, but I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. And it's okay to have a difference of opinion. He did not enjoy this episode as much, whereas I loved it. So I think that that's fine. And if we've learned anything from The Big Lebowski, it's...
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It's that. So if we're doing rankings, 5, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that's all for me, guys. I appreciate the support as always. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you. Peace out.